Welcome to another edition of Be Bold. My name is Crystal Jeanne, and as usual, I have so much prepared for you this week. I can't even begin to explain what's coming up. Well, one of my favorite things to say is really walk your talk. Basically, think about everything that you say on a daily basis, dreams that you have. What are you really doing about them? It's time to really think about what's going to be your next step to hit your goal, to reach whatever dream that you have. Walk your talk. And also the other day I was looking through the Adinkra symbols, and one that really stood out to me was the Sankofa, coming back to your roots. It's always really important to come back to your roots. And tonight we have a very special guest.
Well, I grew up in Kumasi, and I was born actually a twin. It's me and my sister Loretta, and we were born in a family where there are 3 other sets of twins already. So it was a full house. It was like there was about 15 of us and 3 sets of twins already, and it was fun. At the age of 10, my parents decided that they were going to move to Germany. So we moved to Germany. Now, prior to that, I've never experienced anything Western in that sense. So it was shocking. It was extremely shocking for us. I remember I asked my dad once, because the whole experience was so. I mean, to move from Ghana straight to Germany, it was moving from one extreme to the other. One hot environment to the coldest environment ever. And I remember asking my dad once, are we being punished for something that we've done? And my dad was like, why are you saying that? And I was like, everything, the people hate you, you know, the weather is disgusting. You feel like every day you are in a constant, I don't know, torture, punishment. So that was one of the questions that my parents have to deal with at the age of 10. And they assured us that it was only for education purposes. That's why they got us over to the West. Then after our education, we are free to live wherever that we want. So it was very much of an incentive when they said that. Me and my sister were striving to just finish our education as quickly as possible and relocate back to Ghana, because that's where we felt more at home. So we convinced them that it was better for us to school in the UK, because then we can maintain our English language, whereas maintaining the German language, because we're still going to be in Germany anyway. So they agreed, and they sent us to boarding school in the UK at the age of 17. And it was just me and my sister going to school there. So we were sort of like living in UK by ourselves, and then anytime it was holiday, we would go back to home in Germany and see our parents. So we've been doing this, and then gradually after our A-levels, we went into university. We decided to go to stay in the UK for university. So we stayed there, graduated, and yeah, we decided to move back. Well, personally, I decided to move back. So growing up, I think if I never would have asked my parents that question, I wouldn't have had that incentive to just finish whatever I had to do in the West and come back.
Lorraine Ocloo, who is sitting right here in studio with me. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so now tell me, you are in the diaspora segment because you've had a lot of experience abroad and are finally back, you've moved back. Why did you decide to move back?
I moved back because of the need for myself and others to actually help the country develop, because I see myself as a Ghanaian citizen, although I've lived abroad, and I just feel like the development of the nation is very much in the hands of the youth.
Yeah.
So
did you always have connections with Ghana?
Always, yeah. I mean, most of my extended family were all here. We were the only people actually out in Germany. We didn't have any relatives over there, so it was quite hard living in Germany.
So how long have you lived in Ghana at a time?
I would say
10 years of my life.
10 years of your life.
Yes.
Okay. And then the rest was mainly.
So
majority of it was outside the country.
Yes.
So how does that compare to Ghana? Like everything you've experienced outside. Can you just give me a couple? I know it's a lot, but just a couple of differences.
Okay. I mean, the differences are huge, and we can start from the ordinary everyday life where you will you be frustrated in everything you do. You set yourself a task of completing, let's say, 10 items in a day, and you can only get one done in Ghana. Whereas in the UK or in Germany, you can actually complete all the 10 and even add more to your agenda.
What do you think attributes to that?
I think it's the system. The system is quite slow here, and it's more about making sure that everything is accessible. Like over there in the UK, you have most of the services are provided on the internet. Here you have public services which you have to deal with people face to face. So it takes a lot of people's resources.
And regardless of all of that, you're here.
Yes.
I mean, you've moved back and you're facing that. I mean, both of us are here. What made you decide, regardless of all of that, this is where I'm going to stay and this is where I'm going to continue developing?
Okay. I think it was last year. Last year I was doing my final year at my on my degree for History and African Studies, and I decided to come back to Ghana. I had the option of actually going to South Africa, but I chose to come back to Ghana.
Good pick.
Yes. And so I came back very much open-minded about what I'm actually going to stumble across. I was initially meant to do an internship, which actually fell through. I was very disappointed about that, and I was actually thinking of going back. So it was 2 weeks here, disappointed, and then I thought, okay, let me just.
Why didn't it work out?
It's just again, you're relying on other people to do things for you, and then they didn't. The place I was supposed to start, they kept on saying to me, "We're trying to organize you an office space," and that took 2 weeks to organize. And even when I called them, they were still trying to organize.
So they had excuses.
Excuses after excuse. So eventually, I was going to go back, but then something said, "Okay, you know what? Just apply around and see what happens." So I had a week to just see what happens, and I applied for an internship with the Constitution Review Commission.
Oh wow!
And luckily I had a telephone interview and a formal interview the next day, and yeah. And
so you're helping with the Constitution?
Yes.
Wow, which we cannot talk about right now, obviously, because it's still in the process. I understand.
Yes.
Wow. So how do you plan on sort of making sure that your decision here is gonna turn out to be what you want it to be?
Okay, I think I came here with lots of expectations,
which is always a big mistake.
I know, very very big mistake. But I think over the course of time it has changed. I am much more in terms of like making expectation that fits to the context I am now. So right now I am actually doing loads of proactive things here in Ghana. For example, I'm actually encouraging. I'm with the Women on Bikes
what is that?
Association. This is the Goethe Institute organized a 2 weeks event where they will encourage women, especially women, to actually ride bikes.
Okay.
So that obviously, I mean, the transportation issue in Ghana is a very, very big concern to everyone. You'd be stuck in traffic for two hours going from A to B.
But isn't it a bit dangerous?
Well, I've been riding for a month now, and I can say to you, it's the most liberating thing you can do in Ghana.
Do you ride everywhere?
Everywhere I go.
Even the busy streets.
I rode
Did you ride here?
No, I didn't ride here because I had an appointment before coming here, and or else I'll be sweating for the show.
Yeah.
So. But I ride everywhere, to Accra, to Jamestown.
So if you're, let's say, in Osu somewhere, you would ride all the way to Spintex? That's very far.
Well, the furthest, I've not ridden to Spintex. I've been to Jamestown.
Okay.
and I've been to Accra, and then I've ridden to East Legon loads of times.
Isn't it like, do you know where are you gonna pass?
Yes.
Even with motorcycles, it's very difficult. So
No.
where do you are you on the pedestrian or are you actually on the road?
I'm actually sometimes on the road, sometimes on the pedestrian. Depends on whether.
And the
there's
drivers?
facilities. Yes, actually, yeah, you get really good feedback from the drivers.
Really?
Yes, I think they want to see it more.
That's great.
So
I never
there are little events like this that I really want to push, because like when you see, because you don't have to rely on the whole transportation in terms of like waiting for trotros and stuff like that. You can literally get things in your hands and just do it.
and stay healthy.
Exactly. And
Wow.
that's another key issue here in Ghana, because people are not exercising. They're not healthy anymore.
Yeah. Now, do you want to stay in Ghana for the rest of your life? What's the plan?
The plan is to definitely stay in Ghana. I think I've never felt anywhere at home than I do in Ghana. I mean, I've been to loads of places, but Ghana is definitely my home. So definitely stay as long as possible.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Lorraine, for joining us here on Be Bold. You've heard it from Lorraine. She's had an amazing experience moving back to Ghana. Well, let's take a break. Up next, we have a very interesting discussion for you.